everyone. Today we're going to go over some sight singing, adding in the eighth notes and quarter rests. So let's get started. We're going to identify the notes first, and then after we do that, we'll do solfege placement, and after that, we'll clap the rhythms, getting those eighth notes in there, and then we'll sight sing the whole thing. Okay, so let's get started. Identifying notes. So hopefully we're pros at this by now, but I'm not going to go too quickly, but I'm going to try to go through it so that it won't take too long here. So I'm going to start here, give you C, right? We got F, A, C, E, if we spell out the spaces in the treble clef. Now let's go down. B, or every good boy does fine, right? Down to A, G, 2 G's, up to A, then we have G, got a gag in there, down to F, same note, down to E, same note, woohoo, I love it when it's the same. Then we go down to D, drippy D I like to call it, like a teardrop, and then our middle C, back up to D, then E, same notes. Then we go up a step, and woohoo, we repeat ourselves. Then we go up a step to G, repeat ourselves again, go up to A, back down to G, got another G, we got a gag in there again, A, oh, we got another gag in there, 2 gags in a row. All right, F, and then E, down a step to D, and last note C. So with all that fun stuff, now we're going to go over the solfege part of it. So we know that C is usually our starting point, so that's going to be Do. Okay, so we know that's Do. So if we're going to go from there and reference the notes from there, we know we're going down, right? So we have T, La, Sol. We do it twice, so I'm going to leave it there so we don't get too squished in there. Sol, then we go back up to La, Sol, then Fa, all the way through, then Mi, all the way through, Re, and Do, back up to Re. Then we have Mi, repeating ourselves, up to Fa, repeating ourselves, Sol, up to La, then back down to Sol, we repeat ourselves, go back up to La, down to Sol, down to Fa, and then we have Mi, Re, and Do. Sorry, that got sloppy at the end there. All right, now let's try to see if we can clap these rhythms first. So taking a look, we have a few eighth notes in there. So I'm sure we're total pros at it, but just in case I have anybody in here who hasn't really gone over the rhythms all too much, and you haven't had me last year, really quickly, I'm gonna point out the eighth notes. So when we clap those out, we know 2 eighth notes equal 1 beat. So I'm gonna write that in there real quick. It should be easy, but again, just to double check and review, hoping this is review. We know that 2 of these are equal to 1. They're each worth half of a beat. So whenever we clap them out, if we did do it, we would be like 1 and if we kept going, it'd be 2 and, etc. Okay, now going over that, let's try to clap these out. So what beats are each of these on? I think it's important to identify those. So I'm gonna actually put them a little bit higher here, right above, so that you remember where they are and try to kind of keep that in mind as we are clapping the rhythms and then singing the rhythms too. So the eighth notes are on beat 4 in this measure. So I like to go 4 and, right? So the rest would be 1, 2, 3, and then 4 and. I'm just going to point out the eighth notes because I think we know how to count the rest of them. I think we know how to count eighth notes too, but I want to add that in there just to give you 1 extra. So we have 1, 2, we're on beat 3, which is why I wrote beat 3 and, right? It takes 2 to make 1 beat, and that's 4. I'll write 4 in there just because. Now we have, again, easy, half notes, quarter notes, but we got another eighth note here. That's on beat what? So beat 1, beat 2, 2 and, right? Then we've got 3, 4 and, right? So that one I'm gonna actually write out so that you kind of remember. It makes a little more sense. And then we move on, and now we have another set, right? So we have 4 and at the very end, right? 1, 2, 3. Beat 4 is worth 1 full beat with 2 eighth notes. Okay, hopefully that isn't confusing. If I lost you at any point regarding counting out the eighth notes, please let me know and I'll go over it with you. So let's try to clap this out here real quick, okay? So I'm gonna actually snap, and then I'm gonna have you clap along. I'm gonna point to each of the notes so that you can follow along in case you get lost at any point, okay? So let's try it together. So we're clapping first, and then we'll get to a point where we sing it, okay? So let's clap. So 1, 2, ready, and clap. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, and 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4. How did you do? Hopefully that wasn't too confusing, okay? So next up, what we're gonna do is identify our starting pitch. Now, if you didn't have a piano in front of you, which most of us don't, I'm gonna just give us a pitch to start with so that you have an idea of kind of where it's at. So usually I start at the bottom note first. So right here, our last note is do, and then at the very beginning, we have do as well, but it's the octave up. So I start with the octave down first so that you kind of have a good idea where to start at the bottom and then hop on up so we don't just pull a crazy note out of thin air. So I'm gonna go with middle C first. So we go do, right? That would be this one. We're gonna go an octave up now because that's where we actually start, right? So we go do. All right, so that's gonna be our starting pitch. I'm gonna go nice and slow. Okay, so 1, 2, ready, and try to sing. Do, ti, la, sol, sol, la, sol, fa, fa, mi, re, do, re, mi, fa, 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 sol, sol, la, sol, sol, la, sol, fa, mi, re, do. How'd you do? Hopefully that wasn't too confusing. Hopefully you were able to follow along. Thank you so much for participating with me on that one. Now we're gonna do another one. So before we jump down and finish the whole thing here, we're gonna try to do one more thing. So like I mentioned before, we have the, actually I'm gonna leave that out so you can kind of see. So we're gonna do the same kind of process here as we did with the last one. So same concepts. So let's start with the eighth notes real quick. I wanted to point those out here for just a moment. So I'm gonna point those out first actually. So let's just do that. So we're on beat what? So we have 1, beat 2, 2 and, right? And then we have 1, 2, beat 2, right? 2 and 3. And then we have beat 1, same deal, beat 2, 2 and, that is a terrible plus sign. And then 3, 1, 2, and then, oh, we've got to rest. All right, so on 3, we rest, no sound. Let's go to the next measure. Again, same deal, beat 2, right? Beat 2 and 3. Beat 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, and 3. Starting to see a pattern, right? And then the very last one is 3 beats, in case you forgot. Dotted half note. Our half note's worth 2 beats. The dot adds half of the value of that note. So the note itself is 2. Half of 2 is 1. And then 2 plus 1 is 3. So if that's confusing, let me know. I'll go over that with you as well. So let's go over identifying the notes here. So we've got what? We've already actually kind of have the answer, right? Middle C. We started at middle C, or well, actually we ended at middle C and we start at middle C on this one. So woohoo, we've got some repeating notes. I love when that happens. It makes it so much easier. And then we have drippy D. More repeating notes. Woohoo, I love when that happens. Then we go up a step to E and more repeating notes. Then F, then G, and then a rest. So no notes there, or pitches there. The same note here, G, up to A, down to G, we got a gag, and then F, same note, back up to G, down to F, down to E, same note, E, back up to F, down to E, down to D, and we end on middle C again, which is awesome. So we know that the time signature is different from the first one, right? So we're not going 1, 2, 3, 4. This one's actually different. We go 1, 2, 3. So let's try this really quick. I'm gonna have us clap this out nice and slowly, and then after that we'll try to do the entire thing singing after we identify the notes here. So actually, let's do the solfege first and then we'll clap it out. So let's do that actually. So we know we've got do. Sorry about that, I'm kind of going back and forth here. We repeat ourselves. Do, do, do. I'm gonna actually just leave it there. One do. You know we have do's a bunch of times, so I'm just gonna write it in once. Sorry, all my little mistakes today. All right, so do. Then we go up a step, right, to re. Then we have mi. Then we have fa, up to sol. Then we stay at sol, down, or actually, sorry, up to la, back down to sol, back down to fa. We repeat ourselves. I'm going to leave it there so it's not too squished. Sol. Then we have fa, mi. We repeat ourselves. Fa, mi, re, and do. Okay, so I'll write me in there too because it's kind of close together. Alrighty, now, so let's try to see if we could clap this rhythm out here and then we'll do the singing. Okay, so I'm gonna snap and I'm gonna have you count and clap. Okay, so let's try it. Ready? So 1, 2, ready, and we go 1, 2, and 3, 1, 2, and 3, 1, 2, and 3, 1, 2, rest. 1, 2, and 3, 1, 2, and 3, 1, 2, and 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so what I want to try to do now is have us sing this rhythm with solfege the way we've been doing. Okay, so let's try to see if we could do that together. Okay, so starting on do. So 1, 2, 3, ready, and sing. Do, 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 re, 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 mi, 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 fa, sol. Sol, la, sol, fa, sol, fa, mi, re, do. How'd you do? Hopefully you did well and it wasn't too confusing for you. Thank you for participating with me and singing along with me, and I will see you next time.